Welcome back. This is Moses. I want to thank you for subscribing to the channel. Today, we're going to dive deep into something interesting. It's called payload. So, you might be asking yourself a question like, what's payload? Or you've been saying payload with Next.js, and you're trying to figure out what exactly is payload. So, today, it's what we're going to go through. Um, So the best way, as you see in the website, they say the best way to build a modern backend is by using payload. So no black magic and fully open source. As you can see, it is having 34.5K stars on GitHub. So meaning it's being used by many people and it's actively being developed. If you go onto the GitHub, see, even give them a star. If you read through, they tell you define your schema in code and get a full TypeScript backend and admin panel instantly. So what basically Payload does, it is like the same instance of I would explain it in the same instance of WordPress. So it can act like your backend, and it can act like CMS. So if you're gonna deal with any client project which doesn't need like more complex to work, and you just want to do it very quick, you can use something called Payload with your Next.js application. So they tell you skip the hassle of building your own admin panel or using an ORM. With Payload, access a comprehensive open source solution that includes built-in authentication, access control, and more, all without the need of for additional frameworks or tools. So as you can see, the website is talking a lot more of what they can do with what you can do with Payload. You can see they have a nice image of the dashboard, how you can integrate anything you want, and you can be able to fetch the data back into your applications, as you can see, using the normal get methods. So Payload is a Next.js native, so meaning it's built on top of Next.js, ensuring less hassle, more speed, and enhancing your projects from the ground. It's fully leverages React server components, so need to worry about maybe if you've been using server components. It does that, and also it extends your admin panel with server components, reducing client side and keeping business logic behind the scene. So it is also having Turbo Pack out of the box if you've used Turbo Pack before, which is which is being supported by the Payload, and to easy up the development by accelerating the speed with instant updates and superior developer experience. So it is serverlessly configured, since Next.js allows effortless deploy of your full stack to serverless platforms like Vercel, streamline your workflow and boosting stability. So anywhere you can deploy it serverless. You don't need to worry about. You can deploy it on the Amazon. Uh, you can upload it in any platform of your choice. So it has already front. They say harmonious front and back end development, which it definitely means that it's bringing your front and back end together in perfect harmony, simplifying deployment and enhancing collaboration across your entire stack. So they have a nice call to action, which is this elevates the headless CMS experience to the new level. So you might be asking your question, why should I use Payload? So you see we got here, which is saying, if we're trying to hover here, they say, why Payload? You're gonna see that it's meant for developers. I don't know. I think something is breaking. I think the styles break at a certain point, which is okay. But it is definitely meant for developers, marketing teams, etc., etc. So it's unapologetic code first, so meaning central to its functionality. The payload configuration efficiently scaffolds, data storage, custom React components, hook logic, and more, all with the added benefit of TypeScript strong typing and unmatched things. As you can see, you can play along all of that. They tell you how you can create a post document and how it can be returned just using their API payload.create collection, and you attach it in the collection you want to add it. And you said data. For example, it will need the title required, the destination required, the locale, the fallback. According, like if you've been working with the schemas before, Prisma, Neon, Mongo, Superbase, you could be familiar with this type of uh, expression. So they have a local API which lets you directly interact with your database on server pay by bypassing third-party server latency for instant data access, which is a good thing. So also they have simplified authentication, meaning Payload offers out of the box customizable user authentication, ensuring secure identity verification both in the admin panel and across your app. So meaning you don't need to do things like next auth using Clark or anything like that. Payload by default it comes configured with the necessary authentication you need for you to kickstart. So it has features and extensible designers, so you never hit a rollback with all of these features. Form builder, you can do multi-tenancy, reuse payload authentication, localize content. Localizing content means you can have things in different languages. Your site to be in different languages. It's already working, and so if you go to handle file uploads, store uploads locally or in the cloud. So manage versions and drafts, preview drafts and store versions. So 20 plus field types, swap in custom components, extend with hooks, local API, custom endpoints, and access control. So they tell you more about it. For example, no black magic, just code the way it's meant to be. So Payload provides solutions not to roadblocks, but you can simply start off by creating something like this npx create payload app, as we're gonna see, or you can create a new project, or you have any questions, or you can give them a star on GitHub. So we're just gonna go dive, since we know now a little bit more of the background of Payload. We are going to go into what we call the docs, or so if you try to hover around the docs, you can see there's a developer docs, so you can go over straight to the documentation, which is the same thing if you click on these docs here. So if you go onto the documentation, then you're gonna go straight to the getting started. What is payload? It's still something which we have went through and see and checked. So you can just maybe watch this video more and you get to know more about what payload is. Or we can just simply continue and say instant backend super developers. This is things we've just went ahead and read. So they have part. If you go to the part for the concepts, so they tell you what payload concepts are. So it's based around a small, intuitive set of high-level concepts. Before starting to work with payload, it's a good idea to familiarize yourself with these concepts in order to establish a common language and understanding when discussing the payload. So these are like the words which are going to be used throughout more of their documentation. The config, you can read more about it, which is essential to everything that payload does. So you can know about database collections, a group of records called documents that are shared, uh, that all share a common schema. Each collection is stored in the database based on the field. So they have the globals, fields, hooks, authentication, access control, admin panel, retrieving data, local API, and REST API as well. You can just try to see the REST API, the GraphQL API, the package structure, and uh, the installation. So now we're just gonna go to the part which is more interesting. Why we made this video, the installation part. So if you click on the installation, so they give you a glimpse of what they require for you to have this application running. First of all, Payload requires the following software: any JavaScript package manager. If you're using PNPM, NPM, Yarn, but PNPM, as you can see, is preferred to be used because of its advantages. So we have the Node version, which should be 20.9.0 plus. It's almost the latest. So to check your your Node version, you can just simply go ahead to your terminal, and you can just do something like, if I try to clear this and do node minus v, so it's gonna give you back in return the node version which is on your machine. Currently on my device, I'm having 22.11.0, which is really good for the projects to go on. So the quick start, there are a few steps you could follow. So to quickly scaffold a new payload application in the fastest way possible, you can use the create payload app. To do so, run the following command. What the create payload app does, if you try to see into its documentation, it's gonna take you to the npm registry. So what it does, it is taking on these options. You can take on the params. You can choose a template you want to start with if you know already one, or they list them for you down here. You can say, for example, blank. I need a blank template, or I need one with a website already, or I need an e-commerce, or I need a plugin, payload demo, payload website. So CMS at blah blah. So payload demo site at website, which is at website blah blah. So you can start with any of your choice. So for example, if you want a website which is having a CMS running already, you can go ahead and you do the payload website, or you can click website template, which you will start by adding all the configurations by yourself, or you can go ahead and choose an e-commerce template which still is already connected, or a template for creating a template payload plugin. So and also they can pass these options, use PNPM, use blah blah blah. So what I'm gonna do is, if I come and I copy this and I copy this, the first step, and I go to my VS Code, uh, clear this, and I'll just paste it there. So remember, we've said you can pass, if we go back, you can pass the options. For example, I want to pass uh, a name for my application. For example, I'll just do this and then say uh, payload, for example, payload YouTube. And then if I want to add a template, I'll just go ahead and pass T, and then I pass the name of the template I want. For example, if I go on with the payload website and I insert that, I can be able to get it. Uh, what you do after adding the payload website, so what you do is you go and maybe you pass, I want to use PNPM. So if I come there again and I go to this my terminal, and I space and I paste in that, what it's gonna do, I need to add the dots, I think, yes. So what's gonna do, if I come and I hit enter, so it's gonna create for us already a payload application configured and having most of the things working, fully working, as you're gonna see, and we are going to just use that straight away to continue up with the website. So it takes quite some good time basing on your internet speed. But if your internet is fast, it will definitely speed up the process. As you can see, it is saying me to install the following packages: create payload app, which is at version 3.36. So I've just added a Y to say yes. So once that's done, in a few then it's gonna create for you the application with the template. As you can see, everything is configured. Is not, they say payload website is not a valid, is not the name we've put is not a valid. Okay, so set project name. I think there's something wrong. Okay, payload websites. Oh yeah, we had to specify the if we go back to our page, we had to specify the template, which by now the templates, they are there, which are there. If I go back, there are templates websites, non-payload website. So if we try again one more time, it should be working, because you see how good to know that if you see here, they're telling us available templates. For now, we have only a blank, a website, and a plugin. So meaning we just need to do that. So it's going to ask you which database do you want to create the app with. So I'll choose Postgres. You can choose SQLite, you can choose MongoDB, you can choose Vercel. I'll just go over ahead with Postgres. So if I choose Postgres, I hit enter. It's gonna ask me enter your Postgres connection string. For example, it should always be like that, which I can just continue and say enter by now if I haven't set one, but it's gonna fail to continue, because I think I haven't, yeah, but actually it has worked. So what it's trying to mean is it is now trying to install all the related, all the needed things for the project to start running. Now it's configuring the payload to use the PNPM, which we chose to use, and the website template, the plugin template for creating a blah blah. I mean, this is what we chose. So you could choose a blank template. You could choose to use npm. You could choose to use yan or anything. But as we saw, as you all read, it was properly saying that we need to use PNPM because it's the recommended version. So if we come back to our documentation, we see that then they say just follow the prompts, which we've done. So there's also another option of adding already to an existing application, which is something I can do on request. So if you comment down in the comment section that maybe we should also create one where we are just adding it into our existing Next.js application or Laravel application, I can do that. So adding payloads to an existing Next.js application is super straightforward, which we can just walk through again maybe in another day, and we try to see how everything will go. So if you want that video, we can go ahead and do that. So so now once this is finished installing, which is still installing, then we should proceed to the next part. So as we wait, now it's good, it has finished creating. So now what we're gonna do next is if we go back to our documentation, and you try to scroll up, you'll see and follow this part where it says after you've got a folder and name, payload app inside, you can start configuring your application. So now that's going to be the next step we are going to take.